Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Bead Spider. My name's Jo. If you've not been on before, you're very, very welcome. And for those that have been on a few times or maybe longer, welcome. Good to see you all back again. What are we doing today? We've got a nice little project for you today, a nice little bracelet, but it could be scaled up, as most things can, for a necklace for you. Nice colours. I think you've been spoiled this time. Bead Spider have come up with 5 colours of bundles, really, really pretty. So what have you all been up to? We've got a few people already joining us. Very good to see you all. Mandy says good morning from Australia. Morning, Mandy. Amber says hello from Silver Hill, Alabama. It's great to be here. Yay, well done. Irina, hi Joe, hi all. Hiya. And we've got Ida, afternoon from County Durham. And Mandy says it's 12:01 a.m. here. Gosh, you're a trooper, Mandy. Well done to you. Hi, Mandy. Hello from Nashville. And Nancy also is everyone from sunny Annville, Pennsylvania. Huh? Welcome all. It's actually a really nice day here today. It's almost, it's blue skies, sunny, tiny little breeze just fluttering the new little leaves that are coming through at the moment, so it's really nice to see. We've got daffodils out in flower. My garden is full of hellebores, which are absolutely beautiful at the moment. Fritillaries as well. It's like the little snake heads, they droop their little heads, got like a checkerboard pattern on them, absolutely beautiful at the moment. And so all the leaves are just starting to come out, so it's feeling really quite spring-like. It's about time after all the weather we had last week. We also had an awful lot of rain on Friday. Gosh, we got very, very wet. Me and my son walking back from the shops and got caught in that one. So here we go. Man said, I've got so much love for beading since I found your page. Thank you so much. Oh, that's lovely, Mandy. Thank you. We've popped that one up so everyone can see it. But it's great. Everyone finds beading at different times, and the general feedback is it's brilliant. It's like therapy. It's relaxing. We do come across a few bits of projects occasionally which aren't quite so relaxing because it doesn't seem to go quite right. But on the whole, it's all good. So welcome, everyone. Good to see everyone again. Sherry from Indiana as well is joining us today. Thank you very much. Okay, so today's project. Cool. By the way, did you notice somewhere my little dragonfly number from it's probably months now, maybe? Was it start of January, this one? Time goes really fast, doesn't it? It's just sparkling away there nicely. Caught my eye. For those that joined me last Tuesday, we had that brilliant little frothy number. And if I could just switch over to on my camera, let's take a look. And I just wanted to show you really that this is the one I was demoing, and I did go back and finish it after because I really, really enjoyed this particular pattern. It's got such a lovely feel to it, and I will definitely be wearing that one out and about. So yeah, so hopefully any of you guys have had a go at that one, yeah, pop it on Facebook. Come and see us on the Bead Spider Facebook page. Pop your picture on there. Comment if you like the project, if you like the tutorial, if you enjoyed making it, suggestions perhaps for other beads that could be incorporated it. There's people learning at all different ages, all different stages, and maybe they need some inspiration as well to what other beads you might want to incorporate into doing that kind of pattern. Very simple pattern, and like you say, it was just nice to work a simple idea that you could add to. You could change the beads, you could change the lentils out and put dagger beads, for example. Or drop crystal cut drops. Beads would look absolutely stunning as well. So really useful one. And just imagine making it longer and having a full-on necklace with those ones as well. Or drop earrings. Good fun. So the bundles today we got a little kit or bundles. The project we've called Naughts and Crosses. I think it's probably appropriate as we're coming towards Easter to have the crosses in the title. But I think you'll see, my head was going sort of along the Tudor idea, I think, when I was originally coming up with the idea. And the beads we're using are lovely as well. It's not a difficult project. You work one way and then you turn and work back the other way to finish it. So not difficult, but occasionally you get your needle in a muddle and you get your threads around the wrong way and you think you beaded it wrong, but actually you haven't. So just pay attention on this one. So we've got some really nice colours on these bundles today. We've got the blues, which I'll be working with today. They contain, for your bundles, you're going to get one colour of the 6mm hematite beads. You're going to get one colour of the 4mm hematite beads. You'll get one colourway of the size 10 seed bead, one colourway of the size 8 seed bead, and the star of the show, if you like, you're going to get about a pack of 6, and they're 2-hole crystal bar spacers. Now, obviously, this opens up the whole scope of ideas, and if you're used to working with different beads that have got more than one hole, it just makes quite a difference to some of your beading styles, and you can revisit old designs and change them for these sort of 2-hole spacers. Make a really nice idea. You get a magnetic clasp in your bundle as well, and 20 meters of the Speedalon thread. Speedalon, did I say? Spiderlon. Dear, I had a gin and tonic last night. It's just saddled my brain. Right, and also you get a needle included with your thread as well, so it's always super, super useful to have that. All right, so there's special deals, and we'll have a look at that bit later with you. And right, Carol Clark's joining us as well. Hi, all, she says. Mandy says, that is it. Yeah, it's good. It's therapy, isn't it, beadwork? Okay, let's get excited. Let's show you today's little project, because I'm quite proud of this little one. I think probably the latest design's always the favourite. Just one of those things, because you spent time working on it and coming up with it and creating, and it's nice to then show the world. So let's pop over and have a look at this one. Here we go. So let me lay her down for you. And you can see she's also quite flexible as well, but the basic design is a little bit further. Okay. Might get a bit too fuzzy doing that one because I'm using my beading mat again. These are the 2-hole bar spacers. Okay, and this as it moves, if I pick it up for you. Okay. And you can see, and try and catch it in the light, they've got little crystals inset on this sort of a rectangle or kind of a marquee shape almost, if you look at it side on. And the little crystals are sort of 3 along the top and then 1 on each shoulder. So it gives a lovely, lovely finish, and a little bit different as well. Okay, and then you can see we've got our hematite beads. This is the 6mm set in here. I've used the 4mm on these little sticky out bits, for want of a better word. Okay, and then we've got the 2 sizes of seed beads and the magnetic clasp. Okay, now in your pack of the spacer bars, you get 6. I've actually only used 4 on this one, so you've got 2 to use for something else. If this bracelet works up to about 6 3/4 inch, which is 17.2 centimeters roughly, end to end. Okay, now what you could do is take out some of this spacing, and you could physically get another. Let's say this is the section. See, it's just a bit more than an inch, probably 1.5 inches, that section. So if you took out some of the spacing, you could, well, I think pretty safely get another section in. You would use another one of your spacer bars that leave you with 1, but that could be on a nice bracelet or something. You could turn it into a ring or a necklace. Okay. So just giving you options depending on what kind of size you want to finish this design. So say it's got a nice feel about it. With the different bundles, you could change in and change out some of the colours. Maybe go for the blues and then some golds with it as well. I love mixing golds and silvers. So silver spacers and then golds in the seed beads with the blue would look really quite royal, I think. And then you've got other colourways, which include the purples, the vintage rose, a lovely, lovely soft colour, and silvers as well. and the bronze version. I think the bronze and the blues would work beautifully together as well. So different options already. Okay, so let's start. I'm going to keep this one close to hand because if you look, I'll show you. These are my notes. I don't know if it's going to come on back to front or forward. Oh, there we go. This is my notebook. This is my scribbling of what I do and how I do it. And then I've got to try and look at it and decipher it afterward. Then sometimes it's easier just to look at the piece that you're working on and then work that way. Sometimes. So today we've got our 6mm beads. Okay, so let's just switch you back to the mat and then we can get cracking. Okay, so 6mm beads. Okay, I think I used 26 of these in the original version. We've got our 4mm beads. Let's just put a few there. I think I've only actually used 6 of those. It depends how long you're going to make your bracelet, or if you indeed turn it into a necklace. You could space your spaces out, or you'd need to buy an extra pack of the crystal bar spacers if you wanted to do a necklace, okay, just to give it that extra length. Or you could play with the design a bit and stretch it out that way. And these are the little size 8 seed beads I'm using today. Look at those, beautiful. They got like a silver line. Ooh, real nice. I don't know what colour to call this one. I should have it written down somewhere. It's just a really nice summery, it's almost like the sky colour today, actually. Really, really pretty. Then I'm using these size 8, and these got like a pearly. They might be slightly different from the bundle on this one. I couldn't quite work out in the picture. They looked a little bit different, but it just might be in the camera. You know, strange effects with the cameras. So our thread, I say you always get a needle. It's not threaded up for you. I've done that already this morning. So this uses up quite a bit of thread, this one, because you say we're going to work from one left to right and then back again. And as we go through it, I can show you some other options. You could work back again and add a little bit more detail. Okay, so I'm probably working with a good, let's have about 1.5 meters, I think, today, because I'd quite like to get all of this done with you. It'll save us joining in our thread. Yeah, so a bit over, probably 1.5 meters, and then I'm going to pour quite a bit of it down through the needle, so I'm not, I've got my join is probably almost as long as my initial thread. Okay, right, so getting starting. Alrighty. Now, with this original one, as I was saying, I've done this extension on either end just to give me the length I wanted without really, when I was coming up with the design, I didn't think I'd have enough space to do another one of these segments without the bracelet becoming too long. But actually, once you start working up, I ended up with quite a lot of extension to make the design work for the bracelet. And say this was about just under 7 inches, this bracelet in the end. And so that was one thing when you're coming up with a design, you come up with the element and then try and work out if that's going to fit nicely. Obviously, if you're making a necklace, you've got much more scope on how many segments you have in your necklace. And you can play with that. Okay, so let's just move that one out of the way. And so to start with, I'm going to be using a magnetic clasp as well. I've just got the gold one because obviously I've used my silver one on my first version. So I've got the gold one left over to use, so I'll use that today. And we're going to be taking, I'll make a slightly shorter version. I only do one extension, but I can talk you through if you need to add the other one. So the size 10 seed bead, I'm going to add 5. I'm going to add one of these beautiful size 8 seed beads there. Okay, so it's all on the needle. Then I'm going to pop my clasp on. Another of the size 8, and then 5 of the size 10. And hopefully you're all counting along with me as per normal. Okay, so there we go. That just popped on in that sequence for you. Okay. And I'm going to pull my needle. Not all the way through like that. Let's do that again, shall we? I very rarely put a stopper bead on. There's a good reason why you should put a stopper bead on, I guess. Stop all your beads falling off the end. Okay, so let's do that again. All right, we've got our 5, size 10, our 1, size 8, our 1, size 8 after the clasp, and then 5 the seed beads. And size 10. There we go. Let's put them all back on. Okay, this time I'm going to be aware of where the end of my thread is. Bring all those beads down. And I'm just going to put a knot in here. I'm going to leave myself some tail thread. That's probably about 4 inches. Go 4 or 6 inches, and that gives you some scope later if you needed to change your end slightly. Occasionally we do that when we design. We do something at the start, and when we get to the other end we think, that would actually work better. I'll come back and change the other end when I come back. Okay, so I'm just starting off there. I'm just going to pop my needle back through all of this, just to a little bit extra secure. So just carefully take your needle round those beads. Okay, all the way round, including the clasp. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to take it right around there 2 or 3 times. You see beads will be fine going around a few times. It just gives you that nice stable base. And outfit number 5th bead there. Okay, and then we're back to our starting point. Okay, so I've just gone around and secured it all. Okay, so this time all I've done is I've left one of the hematite beads out. So I'm going to say 5 the size 10, 1 of the size 6mm hematites, and then 5. Okay, so we'll just all popped on there like that. And this is the start of the bracelet, so just checking how many beads, because it looks a little bit off here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I managed to get an extra one there somehow. Not to worry. I'll just pop it through. As long as I've got a nice even number, so I've got 4 on either side. I've gone through the 5th one. I've gone through the extra one that I've managed to get in there somehow, and the other 5 on the other side. Okay, and that gives us a nice little link to start our bracelet off. Okay, so if I bring the original in, you can see on this one I've done another hematite bead in here, which you can do. Obviously you might enjoy having quite a few rows of these little intersections, as it were. up to you how you wish to design your version. Okay, so we're coming out of this side here, so I need to just pop back along these seed beads towards that 6mm bead, and I'm going to go through that 6mm bead again. Okay, now this is where we start building up our pattern for our little bracelet. You can play with the which beads you use as well, obviously. We're going to go for one size 10, one size 8, and one size 10. Let's put those on the needle and bring them down. Okay, so they're going to sit on this side, and if let's say we're going to work along one way and then we'll turn around and come back, so it looks a bit odd to start with. I think you'll get the idea. There's a little commandy. Sorry, I missed sister. Can you please explain that again? Thank you. Not sure what you meant. Which bit did you miss, Mandy? I'll happily go through it again. Okay, just drop it down. Which bit you missed? I'll go through it again. Okay, so we've got our little connector piece. We're going to come through another 6mm bead. All right, and this is where we add one of our. Let's pop a few connectors over here. Oh, look at that! Beautifully sparkly. Okay, and pop it on. Alrighty. So I've got the crystals facing up, and I'm going to try to do that all the way along. There's a funny bit when I was making my first one to take the photo of and show you all. I beaded along and I couldn't work out why one of my little connectors was upside down. I was halfway along the bracelet, I'm nearly at the finishing row, and I'm like, I'm going to have to unbead all that to get back to that section. And it turned out I just needed to twist the bracelet, and then it was the right way round. So, yeah. It was amusing afterwards, but not at the time. All right, so we got our connector on. Okie dokie. We're going to repeat that little bit of a pattern. So one was size 8, size 10, size 8, and a size 10. Okay. And you find with lots of little patterns, you do tend to stick to similar numbers and patterns within the beadwork. It just builds up a nice design. Okay. So we've got that. We are going to go and pop on our next size 8 hematite bead. On she goes. Okay. And now this little bit is just the what should we say? The center point of the little segment. Must be better words for this. I'm not so good with coming up all these words, are we? So we want to add 4 of the size 8 seed bead. Okay, so pop them on your needle, bring them down. Okay, and then what we're going to do is take our needle and come all the way back through. So pop it in the first one and go all the way through those 4 again, and pull the needle. And as you do, you're going to encourage that little group of 4 beads to come into a little circle. Okay. And now what I'm going to do, just to firm that up a little bit, is pop my needle through the first one again. Okay. And then in between each of these, because now we've got our little cross, basically, this little section here. Okay. Keep your tension quite nice and tight. You're going to add a size 10 between. So for focus, you can add a size 10 between each of these size 8s. Okay, and that make a little stronger unit there as well. So just let me pop those in for you. nearly there. Okay. So that's all the way round on that little segment there. You can see that. Alright, so we're coming out of that 6mm. We've added the 4 size 8 beads, gone round again to complete the circle, and then we're going round again, adding a size 10 in between each one. Okay, now I just need to make a note of where I've joined from my 6mm onto my little loop. Okay, so I'm going into that size 8. Close my thumb now. Okay, so what I want to do is get my needle back round so I'm coming out of this one on the opposite side. So again, just feed through until you've come out on the opposite side. Okay, I'm trying to show you there. Alright, so I've come in at this size 8 here. I've gone round with the thread and I'm popping out of that size 8 on the other side. Okay. I should say about this spider long thread, the more I've been working with it, and it's beautifully flexible. It has got quite a lot of stretch in it, so it's always worth giving a bit of a stretch before you start using it. I found once you start beading along with it, most designs isn't a problem because you're going back around and around beads. If you were just using it singly, you would find after a little bit of time there would be a bit of stretch there, so just give it a little pull out beforehand. Okay, and then it should alleviate any gappage later in your nice beadwork when you're finished. All right, so if I bring this one back in, okay, so we've got our little connector here. It's sitting the right way round. We've got our one of the beads here, and this is what I'm saying. We're working on one side at a time. We've got this one here. We've got our little section in the middle, which is this bit here, and then we're going to mirror image the first section to get to the end of this part. Alrighty. So we've got our connector. We need to add another 6mm bead. Okay, I'll try and keep this laying flat on the bead back so it'll make more sense. If I keep holding it up in the air, it's going to get twisted and you're going to wonder where the beads are coming or going. So we need to repeat the mirroring. So we're adding the size 10, the size 8, and the size 10. Come down the thread. All right. Then we're adding the size 6mm. Pop that on. There she goes. Okay, and now we're at the next connector. So again, have the connector facing upwards. I'm using the bottom hole to run along this piece, and she's going to sit there. So let's see, we're trying to do the whole bracelet for you. So let me pop along the next little segment. So our 6mm bead, size 10, a size 8, and a size 10. Okay, so I'm just copying this section here now, okay? Size 6mm. Hold there somewhere. There we go. And now we're going to repeat this little section here. So we're adding the 4 size 8 beads. And then just hold on to your thread and pass your needle back through all 4 of those size 8s. And just encourage it to sit nicely. Pass through one more of the size 8 because that'll help you maintain the circle with those beads. And then we pop a size 10 in between each one. Okay, so this is the first one, second one, third one, I know I'm covering the beads up, I'm just trying to put it all in situ. And the fourth one, and as you put that in, allow your needle just to move along the next few beads so you come out at the opposite side on the size, as long as you're coming out the opposite side, you'll be coming out of that size 8. Okay, so there we go. Okay, continue with mirroring the design. So it's a size 8, a 10, size 8 seed bead, and a size 10 seed bead. Okay, just lining them up. I like to know that these are definitely up the right way round. Another of the 6mm. Okay, we've got our little section. Add the next little crystal bar spacer. Again, I'm just making sure in my mind it's definitely pointing upwards. Okay. Right, how are we doing for time? Because I don't want to miss anything on here. I think we've got time to do another one of those, haven't we? So it might be a slightly shorter bracelet. Okay, pop on. And we're just repeating that pattern again. So, is anyone watching booked a holiday yet this year? You're going anywhere exciting? You can see the sea. Have you got a lifetime holiday booked? Something you've always wanted to do? Myself, I haven't booked any holidays yet. I'm looking forward to at some point getting down to see the sea. I'm not flying anywhere, just staying in this country. And there's plenty of it I haven't seen yet. But just looking forward to getting my feet wet in the sea. And if the weather's kind, and then I'll just get all of me wet in the sea. That's what I'm looking forward to. Otherwise, all the holiday I've actually booked through work is so I can go and do craft shows. So it's a sort of working holiday. I've only got a few booked up this year so far. Look forward to them all the same. They are quite hard work, so it's when you're fitting it in with a normal day job as well, it's it's hard work. Okay, so I'm just looking to come out that opposite size 8 seed bead again. There we go. So we've got our middle section here. Alrighty, and we'll add a few more to our mat already. So it's our size 6. Or size 10 seed, size 8, and a size 10 seed bead. Okay, one more, the 6mm. Right. And then we're looking just to finish off as we did up this end at the moment. So it will be a shorter version. I'm only going to use, well, it's not really, actually, thinking about it. It's the same size. Getting carried away. There's the connector. Again, I'm just looking to mirror this end. Okay, just hiding behind that logo there. Okay, and again, let's add some more. Get some more seed beads out here. I don't like to put too many on the mat because know me, I'll catch them out and they'll be all over the place. It's safer not to do that. Okay, one more here. Okay, so we're still looking to mirror at this end at this point. Okay, so we've reached the turning point. We're going to make a better job of this end. So 5 the size 10 seed beads. Okay, and then I ought to do it the same really, and so I'm going to put that extra one on deliberately. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then sorry, trying to work out what I've done in the first place and mirror it. Oh, so easy. Okay, so that's going to come round like that. So I can do that bit now, I think. So if you're coming out here, I've put that extra bead on because that's what I did at the other end. I'm going to come through this size 6 in the opposite. The thread's actually still going in the same direction, right? But what we're going to encourage this to do, once I get my needle through it. Okay, try something different. Let's go that way. There we go. I think it's going to be one of those days where things aren't going to go quite right. Here we go. Okay, so here's my little loop, okay, and then I'm going to pass it back up through 5 to start with the seed beads. So that's the 5, and then I say I added that extra one, and then I want to go another one after that as well. So I've actually just threaded through 7 on this occasion, and then that means I can replicate this section here. Okay, so it's the 5 of the size 10s, 1 of the size 8s, the other part of the clasp, the size 8 and 5 of the size 10s. Lorraine says, hello Joe and everyone. Sorry late today. This looks lovely. Thank you, Lorraine. It's a nice simple project despite my best efforts to make it look tricky. And then just double check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going through effectively the 6 seed bead on that first part. No, hold on, we've got 4 here. It's because of that extra one. It's thrown my mind out. So I'm going to actually go through 3 here. Can you all see this? Okay. So for those of you that didn't see, right at the start, it should have had basically 10 seed beads at this point, and I managed to get an extra one in there. So I'm just repeating that on this end so it still becomes a nice even design. Okay, and then we've got our little join. Okay, so because of that extra one, I've got 4 each side. I've got a joining piece of 3 and then 5. Size 8 at the top, size 8 at the other side of the clasp, and then another 5 coming down, and it's like a little ladder stitch effectively. Okay, so here we go. Just double check all my sparklies are facing upwards, shining nicely to the camera. If you wanted to, you could put a little knot in here somewhere. It stops it becoming slack while you're working with it. But the other issue is if you then change your mind, you've then got a knot somewhere that you maybe don't want it. So now we're just beading back, and I'm looking to come out the other side of this size 6 here so we can continue our pattern along this top edge. So my needle's coming out of this middle row here at the link. So I'm going to pop along these 4 seed beads here. Okay, I'm trying to keep my work flat for you so it doesn't get too complicated. I'm passing my needle through this 6mm bead here. All right. Okay, so I'm now coming out of this 6mm, and this means the hole on this 6mm runs top to bottom, whereas all of these are obviously running left to right. Okay, it just changes the direction of the bead slightly because we're telling it we want it to sit that way. Right, so now I'm just repeating the pattern on this section. So it's a size 10, an 8, and a 10. We're going to add another of our lovely 6mm. Okay, I do like working with 6mm. I like working with 8mm as well if I'm doing sort of bigger jewellery. But the 6mm bracelets and things work out really nicely. Do you have a favourite size bead at all? Is there something that you always sort of find yourself heading back to? I think we all have favourites. Okay, so now that's the little section we're just adding on, which repeats here. And then we're popping our needle through that bar connector. Okay. And we've definitely made sure the sparkly bits are facing up. Okay. And then when you knock it, just double check they're still facing up. Okay. Repeat along here. At the moment, we're just going to repeat this one size 6mm. Okay. I'm going to repeat this part with the size 10 and an 8 and a 10 seed bead. But then what we're going to do here, we're actually going to pop back through this 6mm bead in our element just before the little cross section. Okay, so we pop through there. Okay, so now our two strands have become one. Okay, now what I need you to do is check where the thread comes, the original thread is coming out of our little circle cross into the bead. It's coming out of the... Okay, but we're just picking it. Okay, so you can just about work out, can you see that? Let's put the thread out of the way. Okay, so move that thread out the way for a second. The first thread is coming out of that size 8 seed bead, just there, and it's going into the size 6mm. So this thread's coming out of the 6mm, and I want to come in the opposite side of this seed bead. Okay, so you should have thread going that way from the left hand side, if I do it that way, and then coming in, and then they cross over. And this will keep your design flowing evenly because you're not just using one side of the seed beads in the group. Okay, so let's just pop that back down. Okay, so we've come along this stretch and we've come this way round and come in, and now we're going back this way and we're coming the other way round our little circle. So you've got an even tension on the thread and the bead work as to which way round they go. Otherwise it might become a little lopsided as you go along. Okay, so if I bring in the original one again, you can see where we've getting to. So we've just coming back up, we've come through this little pearl here, and we've got the seed beads coming up. All right. Okay, so I just need to back step because I thought we need to add these. So we'll do that now. So that I was just telling you about, we're saying things going not quite to plan. I'm just going to take my needle, come back through that seed bead I was just explaining about. Yes, I know I've used the needle to go back through it. That's a bit naughty. All right. So what I'm going to be adding at this point is I'm just decorating around this size 6mm bead here. Okay, and I'm keeping a fairly regular pattern. So I'm going to use one of the size 10. I'm going to add two of the size 8 and then one of the size 10. Okay, so this is what we've got now threaded up onto our needle. And I'm coming out of my 6mm hematite this way. I'm going to pass the needle back through the bead in the same direction. Okay, and this will give us a little circle around here. I'm then going to do the same thing again on the other side of the bead. So it's one of the size 10, two of the size 8, and one of the size 10. And again, the thread's coming out from this side. We're going to round in a loop and pop our needle back through. Okay, so these beads have got plenty of hole space for your thread to do multiple passes. Okay, then I'm going to just double check where my thread was coming out that size 8 as before and come in on the opposite side. Okay, so that completes the decorative part around this little hematite bead here. Get it in. Okay, and if I say now, because I might forget later, if you're going to get to the end of this bracelet and you wanted to come back around and do a little bit more decoration to it, what you could do is when you come back along is actually pop another size 10 seed bead in between those two 8s, just for a little bit more decoration. Not necessary, but you could do that. It look quite pretty. All right, and now I'm going to continue on this little cross section, put my needle through the size 10 and the size 8, and let's just lay that down flat. And oh, now we've got a little knot to sort that out. There we go. So if you pull the thread gently, you can avoid getting in a really big knot at that point. If I'd have pulled it quite firmly, it could have quite easily got into a complete knot, and then we would have been cutting the thread and restarting. So I'm coming out of this little section here. Now this is where we add our, let's bring the other one back in, our little extra detail. If you don't like that bit, obviously you could imagine it such a nice straight without these little bits, but I thought a little bit of character, and so that's what I was sort of thinking with like the Tudor idea. Have that little cross there. So we're picking up a size 8. We're picking up a smaller hematite now, this little 4 mil. Beautiful coating on them, haven't they? Just lovely. Righty, and then we'll pick up a size 10 seed bead, and we're just going to pull them down. And I'm coming out the seed bead here on the left hand side. I'm going to miss that bead and pass back down through the 4 mil and the size 8, them on my needle, and I'm going to go back through the size 8 seed bead in our bracelet. And so I've come round in a loop effectively, but because I haven't gone through that top little bead, we end up with like that little picot kind of idea where you put a little full stop on top and then just play with it. If you pull that little seed bead and pull your thread and give them a little wiggle, it will tighten up any looseness you might have with the thread at the base. Okay, and then we're going to carry our thread round until we get to the opposite side of this little section that we've just popped on. So down through the size 10, the size 8, the size 10, and the next size 8. So you're now at an opposite point from what we've just done. All right. Okay, can you see? So there's that one we've just added here. We're coming out with size 8. So again, we're going to add another size 8, a 4 mil, and basically what ends up being a little stopper bead, and that's a size 10. Let them down the thread. Again, missing out that last little seed bead you just added, go through the 4 mil and the 8 mil seed bead, and we're going to go back through the base bead the same direction. So we're forming a little loop. Okay. What's happening is just because my where I've got my thread doubled up. It's just catching on the end of it now, so let's release a little of that. There we go. All right, so that's that little segment here. Now to get back across to here, I just need to carry on threading round this little section here. So just follow your beads round. Occasionally you'll get a size 10. If it's a coated bead, it might have a slightly smaller aperture hole. You can miss them out on this point. It's not important that you go through them, so you could just go through the size 8s. Okay, so at this point you could either go through that size 10 there if you can, if you want to, but it doesn't matter if you miss it. Okay, now this is where we're back to this thing where it's coming out the hematite bead on the top of that seed bead, and I want to come past my needle, so I'm coming out the bottom of it. So you effectively get that crossover. Okay, so down through that seed bead. There we go. Now I'm taking a thread up the size 8 seed bead here, back into this 6 mil. Okay, and then this 6 again, we're mirroring our pattern, so we're expanding again from the single into the double. So we're going to add a size 10, a size 8, and a size 10. Okay, back onto our needle. This is the point where I'll start to go like, oh, my connectors are all upside down and the wrong way round. But they're not, they're fine. They're fine. Okay, so I've got them all turned up just to double check myself. And we've just put our little seed beads on. We're going to add our next size 6, and this is where you then go through the second hole, but turn it slightly. We're going through that second hole of the connector. And there we go. So we're now using both the hole, top and bottom hole of that connector. Okay, so that's the first little element made up. And point out the obvious thing here, because it looks like a little person at the moment. You look at it right there, a little head and arms, and I've forgotten to give him a skirt. Right, let's correct that. We can't have a little person without a skirt running around the place. Let's come back up through here. I'm just going to take my needle off the thread rather than bead up through. I'm just looking to take those ones off there. So it doesn't matter how many years you've been beading. The fact that I probably bead just about every day. When I get home from work, I bead. The weekends, I bead. I go on holiday, I take my beads. We go round to friends' house that bead, and we bead. We tend to sit and drink coffee or tea and talk a lot and do a little bit of beading. But the idea is we go around and bead together. Go to the bead shop and talk to everyone and do a bit of beading. So it doesn't mean you don't make mistakes, and just catch them when you can. And obviously I'm trying to talk to you guys as well and remember my pattern and where my beading thread should be going at what point in time. You can tell it doesn't always work. Right, so to go round our bead and give it a dress, we've got a size 10, 2 of the size 8s and a size 10. We're coming out the size 6 here, and we're going to go back down through in the same thread direction and give our bead half a skirt. Okay, and repeat on the other side, so he's got a whole skirt. And there we go, and pop up the bead that way. Okay, just encourage your beads to lay where you want them to. They will move around. It's not a solid net bracelet, this one, where the beads are not going to want to move around. We like a bit of movement. It shows off the colours and the sparkle. Pop on your size 10, 8 and 10 again. And then your 6mm hematite. Now we have a few others joining us again. Stephanie says hello everyone. Hi Stephanie. Jackie, hi Joe. Rhonda says hi everyone. So sorry I'm late. No problem, Rhonda. I'm sure you can pick up where we've got to. It's not a problem. Rhonda says, I forgot about Daylight J and meant to say, oh, savings. I can't even type. Don't worry, Rhonda, I'm having trouble beading today. So your typing's not a worry. I love the colours of the beads. Thank you. Yeah, we've got some beautiful kits set up for this design. I think you're going to have a tough job choosing which bundle you might go for. But the prices are fairly, wow, they're very well discounted. If you go for more than 3, you could get 15% off bundles. So some good savings to be had if you can't decide which is your favourite colours. Maybe you do go for more than a few. So we're going to repeat this little section again. Okay, so on with the 6mm, the seed beads, the 10, the 8, and the 10. And then we're coming down into the single section. So we borrow this bead again. We're coming back through. Okay. And we've only gone through the 6mm there. All right. And then we're going to give it a skirt. We're going to get dressed this time. So back through. That's that one. And we're going to go get some more beads in the other side of the dress, back through the size 6, and you see you can pass through these quite a few times. And then we're back to this little section. I'm just double checking what side this size 8 seed bead the thread came out of, and it was from this end. So now I know I want to pass my needle down through that way. And we'll get it all wrapped around the clasp. Okay, so we're going to carry on. And we want to add our little dangles. So I'm going to pass through that size 10 and the size 8. Okay. And then to add the little dangle, we've got the size 8, the 4mm hematite bead, and what will be the little stopper bead, the size 10. Avoid your needle going through that size 10, say it's using it as a stopper. Come back down through the 4mm and 8mm and pass your needle in the same direction of travel. So you've come in one side, but your needle's going back in through the other side. What we want to do is just hold on to that little stopper bead gently and just do it between thumb and fingernail and allow the thread to travel through it so you get a nice little tension on your little decorative piece there. Pass your needle back through so we're coming out this opposite seed bead, size 8. Okay. And again, we're going to add our little standy uppy dangle. Again, miss the stop bead, come back through the 4mm and the 8. And I'm coming out of the right hand side here. I want to pass my needle coming in the opposite side. Okay, there we go. Just very carefully, just lay it down, just so you can make sure your tension's all good. If you need to rearrange it, just pull the thread up there and then pull it there. By putting a little bit of weight on here, finger, you can make sure all your thread's nicely tucked in here. Then we just need to pass our needle round the element so we can come back out over this direction. So again, you can pass through the size 10s or you can avoid the size 10s and just do the size 8s. The thread path is already round there, so they're not going anywhere. There we go. And then through this bead here, you can see my thread was going into that size 8 down here. Just move that bead slightly out of the way, you can see it just there. So I know I'm coming out the other side of the seed bead and going in. So it just gives a nice balance. Right, how are we doing? Rhonda says, how's Matthew's recovery? I hope he's feeling heaps better. Yep, I definitely think he's feeling a bit more himself now. He's getting back to it. Did you see his brilliant egg design on Friday? That's a mathematical genius, I think, working all that pattern out to get that netting. It looks really, really beautiful. I wonder how many of you have had a go at doing that. Certainly a good time of year for our Easter eggs, and it's less calories than the chocolate version. Okay, so we just need to get our little bead here dressed. So again, we're repeating the pattern. One of the size 10, two of the size 8, one of the size 10. Back through in the same direction of travel the thread. So that's one side. Okay, and then again, a few more beads required. Look at that colour, beautiful. It's like a tropical photo of a nice tropical beach somewhere warm. Our sky's been pretty good today, and that was that kind of colour. It's been very nice. Next through. Okay, and then we're going from our 1 back into our 2 beads. Okay, so we're going to pop one of them, one of them, one of them, and the 6 mil. Okay, and then through the second hole of the connector. It's not as easy to see when it's laying down, but if I bring one up to you, so there's the front, the sparkle. Okay, and if you see on this is the inside of your connector, you've got the top and bottom hole. The back end is just flat molded metal, and you've got this beautiful shape. Okay, sort of a marquise. It makes me think sort of Art Deco kind of thing. So it's a beautiful style, certainly for bracelets, I think, because it just lends itself nicely to sit flat against the wrist. Okay, so we're nearly there. Let's carry on and finish it off. So add another the 6, a little seed bead pattern back into the it's not seed bead, the size 6 hematite. Okay. Again, we can dress our little seed beads around that 6 mil. Come out that end, go back through the same direction of travel, which loops around. It has a little aura. Pick up the other side as well. As I was saying earlier, for those of you maybe missed that, if you were to come back through this bracelet in the opposite direction again to give it a bit more support if it needs it, You could actually add a size 10 seed bead in between those two and just give it a little bit more decor. Entirely up to you. You can obviously, with all beadwork, you can carry on beading into it. As often as the seed beads will allow you to pass your needle and thread through. Obviously, the smaller the seed bead, the less opportunity of repeat travel through it with the needle and thread. Which is why I quite like the size 8 seed beads personally, because it does give you that option to go through quite a few times. And also with a size 8, the thread, your design works out quicker. If you work in the size 15s, which is the really tiny one, you can spend an awful long time threading and beadworking, and you don't get very far at all. But the outcome is usually beautiful and dainty, and they certainly have their place in the beading world. And I do like using 15s for sort of little, picot tops and things like that. Oh, that's nice. Did you hear that? That lovely little satisfying click as beads pop into place. Okay, I'm just going to get to the opposite side and can add the other little decorative point. And the other thought process when I'm using size 6 and 8 hematite for this design, it give a nice weight to your bracelet as well. You could obviously switch it up and go for the glass pearls that we've used recently. You could go for maybe crystal rondelles. It might change the design a little bit with regards to the length using the rondelles, but it would add an extra dimension of sparkliness. Okay, I'm just making sure I go through this base seed bead, so I'm forming a loop with my thread. Just don't think I've gone through the top bead. We'll find out. That's all right. Okay. When you fill your head with ideas of what else you could do with a design when you're working with it as well, and then you stop concentrating on what you're doing quite so much. And I love the idea that you guys can be watching this and having your own ideas as you go along of what you might do differently. Okay, so I'm coming out the opposite side. You can see I've got a bit of give here. We can tighten that up in a minute. Okay, so that's that one. I just need to give this one a dress or skirt or whatever we're going to call it. We're nearly finished. Just watch you don't get your thread tucked on those. Stick it on. I'm going to turn mine the other way around now, just because it should be a little bit easier this side. Less things to get hooked up on. Again, I'm just going to pass back through this 6mm. Okay, those beads sit nicely. Yeah, so you can see I got a little bit loose here, and I think I would probably, if I had more thread, I would pass up in a minute and you get to the end, pass back around all this and just come back down and give it a little tighten up. It's not a problem. You say you've got space in the beads to do that. I'm just double checking on my little crystals, all on the top facing. I'm going to add this last little section, the seed beads, the next size 6. Again, and then pop through the top of the connector here. There we go. And see these beads sit snugly into the recess of these little connectors, and once it's all, you know, tightened up, it'll be in there beautifully. Pop another 6mm on. And again, I'm just looking to mirror what's gone on here. Just got the size 10, size 8, and a size 10. Oh, we've got a hello from Texas. Sharon, hiya. How are we doing? Okay, and then on this last little section, I'm just going back through this size 6mm. And obviously the thread on the beginning went that way through and down, and now coming back through. Okay, so that completes that little section, and what I would do with my thread now is just run back through here, and then I'd tie a knot off, probably with the thread that's the tail thread that was at the other end. Just get it into a position where I can tie a knot between those two. So come back up those seed beads on this side. I'm just trying to reach a point where that thread was there. Okay. Just trying to see where that thread is coming out of. Work on the same side. Okay, and I will actually just tie a little knot in here while I've got the opportunity. Left over right, right over left. Twice in that direction. Just ensure your knot does actually come down and follow the thread so you can get as close to your work as possible. And then I shall carry on beading around this little section. And say, if it gets really tight but you're determined to get all the way around, you could switch out for a smaller needle. I think the ones that come with your spider long are size 10. You could switch down to maybe a 12 or even a 15, just to make sure you can get all the way down through these seed beads again. So we're getting there now. Okay, and what I'll do, they're about the same length. I'll switch for the longer thread. They're about the same size. Okay, so this thread I'm just going to bring in the opposite direction. So hopefully I'm keeping it in camera for you. Concentrating on this. Get the needle back in and pass it down. And what I'm doing, I'm just coming back across this bead here, and then I can pop another knot in here. If you prefer, you could add a little bit of maybe clear nail varnish or a little bit of glue if you want to. But the knot should be absolutely sufficient. I would take my needle and run these threads back through this bead or maybe up through the seed beads before I cut them off. But there we go. Let's get those out of the way. So here is our bracelet, and as you can see, you don't need to worry too much as long as you're going through the connector. So these beads are ensuring your connectors are all facing upwards. You can obviously, there's plenty of twist available. I would probably get another thread and I would probably pass through much of this again. I would like to see adding that, we'll put one on the needle. I think it'd look quite cool. I'll bring this up to you. So where you've got this little decorative beadwork, like the skirt I was calling it when we were beading, if you were to pop a size 10 in between, so you can imagine my needle is the thread, and I've gone for the size 8, I've picked up a size 10, and yeah, I'm not going to be able to do it on like that. But I put that little size 10 in between those on another pass of the needle, because rather than them all sitting together in a little semicircle, it would actually make that little one pop out a little bit more, so it sits prouder than the size 8s. By doing another thread round, you could do that. You could also, with the little end caps, if you want something a bit more decorative here, you could have 3 at the end and have a like proper little picot finish to it. So there we go. That's what you can come up with. So there's the first version, the second version. So I have the little difference on the end, which gives you ability to play with your length a little bit. You might find if you need a bracelet that's about 7.5, I think, inches, you could actually get away with adding another one of those sections, and then you could avoid having this little link bit as well, which would look absolutely pretty. If you were going to do it as a necklace, so here we go with the magic of magnetic clasps. You could imagine that becoming your necklace. Obviously, you're going to need more than one bundle in order to have enough of the components, or you could make this section repeat itself once or twice more often before you do the connecting pieces. But it just gives you a lovely way of using these little connectors. They're quite cool, isn't it? The gold and silver clasped together. I quite like that. It may be on the next pass of beads. I would actually, if I was going to do this with the gold and silver, I would add some gold beads into the design as well, so it brings that gold throughout the design. So little things to think about when you're having a play with these. So hopefully you like that little design. So I'm quite pleased with it. I'd love to see it all made up in different colours. I think that'd be good fun. And mixing those colours as well. So hopefully you enjoyed it. So let's pop over and have a look at our website, because I think it's got some beautiful bundles up there for you to have a look at. So here's today's project. If you wanted to rewatch it at all, you can do that. If you're a little bit late coming in and need to start from the start, you're very welcome to have a look on there. So if we click on to that little link here, okay, here's all the bundles that Bead Spider put together to go along with this design for you. And say you've been spoiled this time, you've got 5 different colorways. So this is the one we've been playing with today, the Cool Lagoon Naughts and Crosses Bracelet Bundle Kit. And there we go. Okay, so you've got all the beautiful colours. I'd be very, very tempted to go with the Mystic Purple, just because of the colour. But I think mixing the blue and the purple together might be quite a nice sort of midnight feeling design as well. We have the beautiful bronze bundle here for you. Okay, come down a little bit further. We got this gorgeous silver sparkle. I think what did we think? A nice little black dress and a silver bracelet just to set it off. Very nice. And we have the rose, or vintage rose. Again, nice, soft, gentle colours. Absolutely beautiful. There are other related items that you may wish to add to your basket today. If you want to change out some of these colours, imagine this beautiful fuchsia, electric fuchsia, hematite bead there. You could switch out with the blues or the purple bundle. Absolutely beautiful. Scroll along, there's some other alternatives to the seed beads. There's also different connectors. Now you've seen them in use. Maybe you want to go for the gold version, or mix the gold and the silver. There's some like half moon shapes as well. They've also got the 2 holes in there for you. So pop along to the website and have a good shop. Fill up your baskets. If you're buying one of the bundles, you're £14.50 on all of these ones today. If you like to have free bundles, if you pop them in any of your choice on colours, you can have that for $36.97, which gives you the 15% discount. But actually, if you were to go and pop in one of every colour, that 15% discount would then apply on top of that for you. Okay, so go and have a shop. You can get there at beadspider.co.uk, and you can go and do your shopping, fill your baskets up, and enjoy all of that. And then, I don't know, what colour combinations would you come up with? Would you mix a few of them together, or would you keep them as per the bundles in the kit? It's always good to know what's going on. Rhonda says, thanks, Joe, for the tutorial. It's pretty. Thank you. Mandy also saying thank you. It's beautiful. Right, lovely. Thank you. Thank you, guys, for watching and getting in touch. And all the chatter. It's lovely to hear you in the background having the chatter. So Matthew is feeling much better now. Thank you for everyone that's made comments on there. If you watch, let's remember to add the little box along the bottom. There we go. If you watch in, please like and share and subscribe. You'll get the notifications. It's also the mailing list on the website. It all helps. Everything helps, absolutely. Let your friends know, share the information, and don't forget to press the little thumbs up when you've watched it if you've enjoyed it. It makes a big difference to businesses in the background and all this going on for you. So it's all good. So hopefully you've enjoyed that. I think I've said everything. We've got Easter coming up here in the UK, so my next one will be, I'm having a week off. I'm going to go and visit my folks, and the next one will be for me the Tuesday, the 18th of April. Friday, I'm not sure what's going on at the moment, and there may be something for you. But if you haven't already seen the egg Matthew was demonstrating last Friday, pop along and have a look at that. It's absolutely brilliant. I'm not a mathematical person, and the fact that you can sit and work all that out, I would spend hours and hours trying to work it out by beading it and unbeading it and beading it again. But some people can work it out with maths. Amazing, really clever. Right, so I've kept you all long enough. Hope you've had a really nice tutorial. You've enjoyed it. It's given you some ideas for taking your designs to another way of thinking, and hopefully you've learned something. So thank you all very much for joining us on Tuesday. Again, I'll see you on the 18th of April after Easter, and hope you have a lovely time. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.